Hello, BookTube.
Hey, we got another tag for you, and this is kind of an original tag, although it's probably been done before. We didn't look it up, but we're still tagging people that may have done this before. I don't know.
It's just something we've been wanting to do.
Yeah.
We finally got around to doing. What we're doing today is the favorite fictional characters tag.
Yeah, as Steve Donohue would say, we've weaponized it.
Right.
So you cannot refuse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've chosen our top 20 favorite characters. These are not the best characters, not the most wonderful literary characters. These are our favorites, the ones that we absolutely love. So they're in no order.
Yeah, and they're kind of all over the place too. We got some from classics. We got some from modern fiction. We got some from romance books. We got some from mysteries. We got all kinds of stuff.
There's a couple of comic book characters.
Yeah, a couple of comic book characters. Yeah.
So it's all over the place. And like I said, they are in no particular order. They're just on there as we got them out on the paper.
Yep. The 20. But if I was to order this, it would take me all day. So I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd still be ordering. Okay, so we're going to start with number 1. We'll just start with number 1 and go down. I'll say one, you say one. That works.
Yeah. We're not gonna keep telling you the numbers.
No.
We actually numbered these to make sure we had 20. That was the only reason. But we're not gonna use the numbers.
All right. First, Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. She's an amazing, amazing character. She's fantastic. She's strong, headstrong, free spirited. I just adore her.
Yeah.
Pride and Prejudice is one of the few books that I can read over and over again because it never gets old for me.
Yeah. Mine is Paul Atreides from Dune. I think that's definitely the top 5 favorite character for me. You see so much growth in this character from the time he's small till the time he becomes, ruler, a prince, wonderful character. Very cool, great story, and we'll talk more about it when we're talking about our favorite science fiction novels coming up in about a week.
He's a great character as long as what's his face from the movie isn't playing him.
Yeah, you don't like Kyle MacLachlan or something.
Kyle
like
MacLachlan.
Yeah, she hates him. I like him. I think he's a cool actor.
He's just one of those characters. Can't handle him. All right, so the next one is Alphalus from a book called The Redemption of Alphalus by David Eddings. David and Lee Eddings. I'm sorry. I actually have a couple of characters on here from David and Lee Eddings. The Redemption of Alphalus is my favorite book. My very, very favorite book. It's got everything I want from a good high fantasy book. And Alphalus he's a fun character. He's a thief turned hero, and it's a great book. If you ever get your hands on it, give it a read.
I'll eventually read it. I'll eventually finish it
one day. We started on audiobook. That was the issue.
Yeah, probably. I don't do audiobooks. I don't enjoy them. I don't like other people reading to me, because it takes my imagination out of it.
I love audiobooks
by quite a bit. But mine is Elizabeth Bennet, Pride and Prejudice. She has to be on here. She's one of the greatest literary characters ever.
For a good reason.
Yeah. Well, she's lasted this long. The book has lasted this long, partially because of her, and partially because Jane Austen is just an amazing writer all around. But yeah, Elizabeth Bennet for sure.
My next one is Special Agent Aloysius Pendergast. He's a character by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. The Pendergast series is so long; it's been going for ages.
But you still love it.
I love it so much. Every book. I haven't been disappointed in a book yet.
Yeah.
And that's
I've
kind
read
of
the first
surprising.
5 and I really loved them all. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so good.
They are. Mine is Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. I mean, what else can you say? The guy is amazing.
He's a great character.
Such a great character. So well written, so well rounded. From the time that he disappears in Fellowship of the Ring, and everything that happens in between. You eventually learn all that. Just wonderful.
And boy, oh boy, does that man have some of the best lines in those books.
Yeah, he does. Yes.
My next one is Vincent d'Agosta from the same series, from the Pendergast series. For the first 2/3 of the series, he is Pendergast's partner in crime. I mean that literally, by the way. He's a New York detective. He's just a great character. He's so different than Aloysius Pendergast, but he's just as honorable, and he really makes the show. I love the show. The books. I love him.
Yeah, my favorite here, the one I'm going to mention here, is Jo March from Little Women. What an excellent character. And again, she is the most well-rounded of all the characters, even though she has her moments where you want to, you just want her to go away. She's still my favorite character in the book, and it's one of my favorite books, one of my top 10 books. Love Little Women. It should be read by most people, I would think. Because the frantic pace of the first half of that book, where the girls, they're just running around being girls. It's joyful, it's fun, and the second half is just about as effective, where the girls have to settle down and have to go through life. Excellent. I really love Little Women, and Jo is the best character in the book, I think, and she is the main character.
My next one is Jane Eyre. I first read Jane Eyre when I was in high school, and her character made such an impression on me because she's vastly different from most of the heroines that you come across in romance novels. She's plain, she's homely, she's quiet, she's soft-spoken. She's not your average romantic heroine, and that really speaks to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I loved that book. It's one of my favorites. So definitely Jane Eyre.
Yep. Mine here is Philip Marlowe from the books by Raymond Chandler, which are The Big Sleep, which is one of my all-time favorite books. I love The Big Sleep. Lady in the Lake, and he's got 5 or 6 others, something like that.
Most of them turned into film noirs, right?
Yeah, well, not most of them. Some of the books turned into film noirs. The Big Sleep being his most famous.
I'm thinking Dashiell Hammett. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's next.
Yeah, but yeah, that's he. Philip Marlowe, I don't think has ever been done quite right on screen, but I think Humphrey Bogart did the best job as Philip Marlowe. A lot of people would say Elliot Gould. I would say no. I think he did fine, I guess, but I think Bogart was much better.
You can't beat Bogey.
Nope.
My next one. So when we made this list, I really tried to put just one character from each author or one character from each book, and it just did not happen. It doesn't work, especially when you got people like Pendergast and d'Agosta. But my next one is Mr. Darcy. I had Elizabeth Bennet earlier, but you can't put Elizabeth Bennet without putting Mr. Darcy, because they have such a great chemistry in the books. They're like salt and pepper. They just go together. Yeah.
My next one is Sam Spade by in the Dashiell Hammett books, which the Maltese Falcon. I cannot for the life of me remember the names of the other Sam Spade books, but they're great, and I really enjoy the Thin Man by Dashiell Hammett, but he didn't make this list. So Sam Spade, great character.
I love the Thin Man.
Yeah,
those movies are fantastic. They're so fun.
They are. Yeah, they did a great job adapting those.
Okay, so my next one, I'm kind of pulling away from the really, really popular characters. My next one is a guy named Doran from a series of books by Darcy Coates. They're the Black Winter series. And let me tell you, I love that series so very much. It's sort of an apocalyptic series, and we all know how much I love Darcy Coase. I'm working on reading everything she's ever written. And Doran really speaks out to me. He's a fantastic character. He's quiet.
Yeah.
He's unassuming, but he's loyal to a fault, and he's just he's strong, a very, very strong character, and just so fun to read about.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine here is Hercule Poirot. I love those books. They are so much fun. I haven't read them all, but I have read quite a few. With my favorite being, it's got to be Murder on the Orient Express. My favorite Poirot book.
Oh.
It is the best one. I also like Five Little Pigs. I thought that was very well written. But yeah, he's a wonderful character.
He is.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say anything else about him. I mean, if you don't know who Hercule Poirot is, you've never started reading, probably. So I'll stop there.
Stopped reading 5th grade. Okay, my next one is kind of proprietary. I'm contractually required to put this on the list, and it's Galadriel from the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings books. I'm named after her. I had to put her there.
Yeah.
I've had a fascination with her character since the day I was born. So yeah, she has to be there.
The character is actually pronounced Galadriel, though.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It is, but no, it's not.
And right after Poirot, but actually not after Poirot. This is just how I wrote it. Sherlock Holmes. I mean, one of the greatest literary characters ever written is Sherlock Holmes. Now, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, by writing Sherlock Holmes, changed the forensics, the science of forensics, changed the way that detecting is done. Everything about these books are important. You hear a lot of people talk about these days how they're problematic, because they can't separate the time from from today.
Keep reading with modern eyes.
Yep, Sherlock Holmes is amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and do the next one too, which is Dr. Watson, part of Sherlock Holmes. Again, probably not a better character in British literature than Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes. The Sherlock Holmes books are as good as they are because Dr. Watson is there.
Well, he's sort of Sherlock Holmes' sounding board.
Yeah.
He's his conscience.
Yeah, at times his foil.
Yes.
Just a great character, just perfectly written.
Mm-hmm. My next character is a Shakespeare character, and it's Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing. And again, the one after that is actually Benedict. So Benedict and Beatrice are my next two characters because they're hilarious. They're absolutely hysterical. They're like the first half of that play of Much Ado About Nothing, they're just screaming at each other because they love to hate each other. Second half of the movie, they're plotting revenge. God almighty. The second half of the play, they're plotting revenge and falling in love over plotting revenge. It's so good, and I love their characters.
When
They're
did you
hilarious.
first read it? Was it in college or high school?
It was in high school. We didn't read Romeo and Juliet in high school. We got in my high school class, we got our choice of Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, or Much Ado About Nothing. So I chose Much Ado About Nothing because Romeo and Juliet does nothing for me. Never has. I've never been a fan of that play, but Much Ado About Nothing is right up there with my favorites. It's about number 2 on my list. Number 1's later.
The one I'll talk about here is Philip Kent from the John Jakes books, the Kent Family Chronicles. The Bastard, God, what a fun book that was. And what a great character Philip Kent was. Again, showing growth all the way through the story. There are times you want to kick him in the nuts, punch him in the face, but...
You sort of inhaled that book.
Oh, yeah.
He flew through it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Very easy read. Actually, the next one I found a little harder to read, not because it was any worse, but it was because I was going through... I wasn't feeling well at the time. And I got to finish that this year as well. I was doing a buddy read with Bill Rutenberg, and I just stopped because I felt so bad. I just couldn't do it. I had to stop another buddy read at the same time. It was rough, but yep. Go ahead.
All right, so my next character is another Shakespeare character, and this is from Twelfth Night, or What You Will, and his name is Sir Toby. Again, because he is utterly hysterical.
He is. Great character.
He's one of two clowns in that story. If you in that play, if you follow Shakespeare, you know that most of his comedies have a designated clown, just a character that's there for the comedic relief, and Sir Toby is one of them.
And then there's one more. What was his name?
Sir Andrew Aguecheek.
No, the other one, the real clown.
Oh, Festy?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He was great, but Sir Toby stole the show. Him and Sir Agueface.
Alexander Aguecheek.
One of the first things Sir Toby says to him is, "How now, sot?" But yeah, they stole the show. 12th Night or What You Will is my absolute favorite play of all time, of any play ever written.
It's great. It really is.
So good. And the movie is awesome.
Yep.
Just awesome. They could not have cast that better if they'd wanted to, as far as I'm concerned.
It was great.
Okay.
My favorite, well, I keep saying my favorite, but these are all my favorites. Shay Olmsford from the Shannara series.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to buddy read the second book, and I loved Shay in the first book. Again, it is that hero's journey that I love. I love to see the characters grow, and that's something Shay gets to do. And it's written, in my opinion, very well. I know this series has its haters, and has its detractors, but I still love this series, even though I know it is written very much in the vein of Lord of the Rings.
Well, but
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, the series was written when when all of that was still really new. Like you said, it's a hero's journey, but it was written in the late 70s.
1970s. Well, actually, it started writing it in 71. It took him 7 years to write.
Okay, so it was
6 years.
Yeah, it was written in the 70s when
before Lord of the Rings came to huge prominence.
Mm-hmm. It's part of the hero's journey cookie cutters, if you know what I mean. Like, later on you have the Belgariad that came in. That's really
not too much later either.
Not too much later, but it still really follows closely that hero's journey. But the Shannara series, how is it?
Shannara. Well, it's actually Shannara according to Terry Brooks, but I think it sounds stupid, so I say Shannara.
The Shannara series really, really defined a lot of what we call the
epic fantasy.
The epic fantasy, yeah, along with J.R.R. Tolkien. So Shannara they were some of the first. So you can't really say it's copying the other series when it was right there in the heyday of it.
Yeah.
I need to finish it. I need to get back in the series. I stopped after the second one because I'm still salty about the ending.
You do that way too much.
You'll know why.
Still.
It won't affect you the same way it did me, but I was so mad. Oh, I was so mad. And anybody who's ever read it, you know why. Moving on. Speaking of the Belgariad, my next character is Polgara. Polgara the sorceress. I prefer Polgara. It's probably Polgara.
I do too. I prefer Polgara.
Polgara is... so the Belgariad is about a young man named Garion. His name is actually Belgarion. Belgarian. And it's again a hero's journey about a young boy who goes on this long, long quest with his grandfather and his aunt. Polgaria is his aunt. I believe it is, yeah. Yeah. Polgaria is a sorceress, and she's very unassuming. She's just an amazing character, but she's physically defined by a long streak of white hair, right at her hairline. And I always said that when I started getting white hair, it better grow in just a gray streak right here. So I just not my enjoy those, Link. Just better grow in a gray streak right here so that I could be Polgara for the latter half of my life. It's sort of working, sort of. But yeah, she's a great character. And I remember vividly from those characters. From those books. There's one scene where Polgara is about to have like a sorceress battle against another person, and she decides that she's going to have it on her terms, and she steps out onto the water and walks across this little lake. And I was like, oh my God, she's friggin' awesome. She's been a hero ever since.
Good. All right. For me, I'm going to go with Ludo. From The Last Samurai, the book that came out in 2000, I believe, and was a debut novel that is amazing. One of my all-time favorite books. Ludo is the little boy, they say, I mean, most people would read this and say this boy was a complete genius, but the book is really about, is he really a complete genius, or is he this smart because of the way he was raised?
Is he a product of his
is he a product of his environment? But what an amazing story, and a fun character, and another character that you want to smack sometimes. But kind of cool. I mean, really cool. Great book, great character.
Okay, so my next character, I don't care what anybody says, I love him. My next character is Robert Langdon. It's Shushu from the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons.
Angels and Demons is one of the bottom 5 books I read in my entire life.
I love the books. I inhaled the Da Vinci Code. I loved it, and I really like Robert Langdon. I like that he's a very smart, very neutral individual. And I like that about him. I like his character.
I'll tell you what turned me completely against Robert Langdon was when that movie came out and Tom Hanks played Robert Langdon. And he was awful.
I like Tom Hanks. You
just I like Tom Hanks. Okay.
No, you're kind of on Tom Hanks.
No, I'm that way on Matthew McConaughey, but Tom Hanks.
No.
Tom Hanks is a good actor, but he had nothing to work with.
You're chuck him into the ocean on Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Yep.
I like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Robert Langdon is, I guess he's an okay character, but that just killed it for me. My next favorite character, I do have one Shakespearean character on here, and it's Hamlet. Nobody speaks like Hamlet.
That's true.
You know, he has some of the best lines in Shakespeare ever. Some of the best written lines in the history of literature. And as a matter of fact, the whole play of Hamlet is probably the best play that's ever been written in the history of literature, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it's the best one I've ever read, and I've read quite a few, but...
He's such a douchebag, though.
Yeah, so?
He's so awful!
He is incredibly effective. So is the play.
He's incredibly rude. All right, next one is Anne Elliot from Persuasion by Jane Eyre. Jane Austen. By Jane Austen, I'm sorry. Okay, so the next one is Jane Eyre from Persuasion by Jane Austen.
Anne Elliot from Persuasion by Jane Austen. Jesus, Pete.
I need a nap. Okay, let's try this again. It's Anne Elliot from Persuasion by Jane Austen. Okay. I adore Anne Elliot. She was a quiet, sweet, malleable character. Oh, she was she was just so, she was buffeted around by everybody around her.
It's hot in here.
It is hot. Excuse me. There were so many characters around her that were affecting her that just took charge of her life, but she was stop it. She was still the shining.
Okay.
I'm gonna beat you up. She was still this shining, beautiful soul in the middle of like that maelstrom, and I just loved it. Absolutely loved her character. The male of the book, I cannot remember his name. The male lead, but if I'd have added him, except for the fact that the only real thing that I really remember about him is that letter. The letter was just gorgeous. But yeah, and Elliot.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Mine is Count Dracula from the book by the same name, and
from the other side of
many
the
other pastiche novels and comic books and all kinds of stuff. I mean, what character in the Victorian literature has had more of an impact on literature, on movies, on pop culture than Dracula? I mean, when you think of it, and I think that is because he's an extremely effective character, well written. Love it.
Yeah, I read Dracula this year, and I was actually really shocked by the way his appearance was described.
Oh yeah, nothing like what you see in the movies.
He was gross.
Yeah,
just gross as a general rule, and he's this.
He's been romanticized.
Yeah, he's this hunky, beautiful character from the movies. And I'm like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
Ugh. My next one is Brooklyn Wainwright from Kate Carlisle from the Bibliophile series. It's one of my very favorite cozy series. And Brooklyn, she's funny. She has a great personality. She's very well-rounded. She's a great character. Loads of fun to read.
Mine here is Sazed from the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. They're the only Brandon Sanderson books I've read. I really did enjoy those books. Thought the third one was... A lot of people say that's one of their favorite books, and I thought it fell flat. But Sazed is a cool character.
He's a great character.
Yeah, he's an historian. He's a servant. He does so many things. In this book, he becomes one of the heroes.
You know who I pictured every time I thought about Sazed?
Who's that?
I pictured Morgan Freeman from Robin Hood.
Okay, but
character?
Sazed was a lot more softly spoken, though. For sure.
He was softly. He was so cool.
Yeah.
Great character.
Yeah, very cool character. I like that series, and I like that character quite a bit.
My next character is Edwin Drood, but not that Edwin Drood. From the Simon R. Green books, the Golden Torque series. It's the Secret Histories series.
Secret Histories, yeah.
I adore that series. I've read every single book in the series.
It's done though, isn't it, for now?
It's over. That and his Nightside series. They're both done. I'm so sad. Well, hi. Okay.
Watch.
Yeah, Eddie Drood, he's a smart ass. For one, just from beginning to end, there's loads of hilarity in those books, and it's urban fantasy. The books they're fascinating. And every book, the title of every one of the books is titled after what's his name? 007.
James Bond.
James Bond book. The first book is The Man with the Golden Torque. And they get better from there. They're so good. If you like a good urban fantasy, look them up. It's the Secret History series by what are you laughing at now? By Simon R. Green.
Okay. we're at number 17, but like we said, these are in no particular order. This is just how many we've discussed.
We're nearing the finish line. We
Yep.
just tend to blather some.
My next one is Hannibal Lecter. Why I'm laughing about Hannibal Lecter. Because there's nothing to laugh about with Hannibal Lecter. I love the movie. I love the book. I actually read the book right before the movie came out
You jump ship.
Oh.
We'll just say that one next.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
not in any order.
And I love this character. I like Clarice Starling fine, but it's Hannibal Lecter that makes those books.
Hello, Clarice.
No, that's not the way it's done in the book. I still love the movie.
Just had this mental image of him like pressed up against the window going, "Hey, Clarice, how are you?"
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter. I mean, you know what's more to say? He's disturbing, and when you really think about some of the things that he did in the book, or that they discuss in the book that he did, oh, good God.
Is he as creepy in the books as he is in the movies?
Yeah, more so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but he is brilliant and a well thought out character.
Okay, my next character is Ishmael Jones, another Simon R. Green character. This one is, again, another urban fantasy, but it's wildly different than the Secret Histories. The Ishmael Jones books it's about an alien who's
Go ahead.
Who crash landed on Earth, has no idea where he came from, and has no... I'm going to hit you. Has no idea how to get back to where he came from. So now he works for a secret agency solving mysteries and things like that. And they're all things like country house hauntings, things like that aren't quite what they seem. They are loads of fun. Again, another really good urban fantasy series. You're there.
Yeah, I know it. My next one is Superman. And I think a lot of DC people these days, a lot of comic book people, they barely know who he is or who he was.
You mean the people who are writing him?
No, the people who are reading him. You know, the young people, they barely know who he is, and they call him a Boy Scout, and just all kinds of crazy crap I hear about Superman that just isn't true. He's a great character.
Well, I think that's because most people's experience with Superman is from the movies.
Yeah.
If you look at like start with the Christopher Reeve.
Okay, but you can't you can't talk about Superman as a character unless you've read him in the comic books. Mm. Right? Because that's where he started, that's where he's best.
Not with any amount of expertise. No,
yeah.
You really can't.
And the Superman that they have now is not the same. Although the one they have now is better than the one they came out with in the New 52.
He's closer.
Yeah. But they're both.
But I like Henry Cavill as Superman.
I'm not talking about the movies.
Oh, we're talking about the comics.
Always.
I was talking about the movies.
Yeah, I don't talk about the movies.
See, with the comics, it's kind of a crapshoot for me because you either get this really crappy art, or you get this complete lack of story. Remember, there's that one comic by a year.
But that's not true about Superman or Batman.
There's that one comic a couple of years ago where the entire book was a poem that didn't really have anything to do with
Batman,
Superman.
Not Superman.
No, it was Superman.
No, it was Batman.
No, it was Superman.
By Tom King.
They did one with Superman.
Okay, but who is the worst Batman writer in the history of Batman? Tom King should never write another comic book.
Then you have some of the artwork where Superman has this like big barrel chest. That he kind of looks like he was drawn by Robert Liefeld.
Rob Liefeld, yeah.
What did I say? Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, Rob Liefeld.
It's hidden.
What a no-talent hack.
If you've never heard of Rob Liefeld, go to
look
Google.
Up his Captain America
look up
art.
Rob Liefeld, Captain America.
Yeah.
Or Rob Liefeld Cable. Oh my God.
Yeah, Rob Liefeld really is.
He's never seen an actual human being.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Superman, there are so many different iterations of him right now.
Well, not right now. There's one iteration.
Well, there were
a
year ago.
Yeah.
There were like 4 or 5 different Superman comics, and they were so wildly different.
Yeah. Well, it's because one was written by Brian Michael Bendis, who again should not be writing Superman. He wants. Steve Donohue talks about this, and he's right. He just wants to change everything he touches, and he wants to change it in this profound way that doesn't work. It just completely kills the continuity.
Yeah.
But yeah, Superman.
They need to stop letting him do what he wants to do.
Yeah, great character.
Yeah. All right, next on my list is Harry Dresden. I've got a thing for urban fantasy. I can't help it. I love the Dresden Files. They're by Jim Butcher. He's a modern day wizard. The only wizard in the Chicago phone book. I like that. I like it a lot.
Okay. My next one is Grand Admiral Thrawn. And Grand Admiral Thrawn was a literary character long before he was ever on any of the Star Wars cartoons. It was a series written by Timothy Zahn. It was The Last Command. Dark Force Rising, and I cannot remember the first one. But they were awesome books, and they brought out one of the best Star Wars characters ever who hasn't been in a movie. He's been in some of the cartoons and some of the TV shows, but has not been in a movie yet. But he was mentioned on the Mandalorian.
It bears repeating, he's the only villain on our list.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Right? I can't believe Joker's not on here somewhere for you.
Yeah, I do love Joker. We'll go ahead.
All right, so my next character is my only comic book character, and it's a character called Kanto. The comic series was called Kanto. It was about a little clockwork boy, a little clockwork slave, who discovered that, he unlike his brethren, he had what seemed to be a soul and a conscience, and he goes on this quest to help save a little clockwork slave girl that he adores, that he's in love with. It's beautiful.
It is. Wonderful comic.
Absolutely.
And again,
beautiful.
It's on Comixology. You don't have to worry about going out and finding the issues or paying $25 for the trade. You can get it on your e-reader. Yeah, and it is worth it. There's only
like 5 or 6 in the series. I think. It follows the hero's quest or the hero's journey very, very closely. But there's this one page that I remember vividly. The comic book starts with just sort of block words in the corner talking about a story in which a young squire goes on a quest to save the damsel, and there's a scene where this cute little bitty clockwork boy is walking, and behind him is this huge knight, and it just shows how big his personality is. And I need to find it.
It is great. We have those issues, but again, you don't have to find it. You can get it for free. I need to read it again,
maybe a couple more times, because it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's short. Absolutely, you can get the entire thing read in probably 45 minutes, or if not less.
It sticks with me. It's just that one still or that one cell from that page. Really, it actually made me cry. I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God!" Yeah.
It is excellent, and we recommend it to everybody.
Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to be a fan of comic books to appreciate it either.
You just need to be a fan of a good hero story.
Gorgeous too.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
In every way possible, the story, the setting, the art. Kanto.
Yep.
Canto. Kanto.
Yep. Mine here is Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo!
Yep. From The Hobbit, from Lord of the Rings, mostly The Hobbit. Mm-hmm. I love Bilbo in The Hobbit, and I love The Hobbit.
Great book.
Yeah, to me, it does rival Lord of the Rings in the storytelling, even though it's more of a children's book. God, I loved it. The Hobbit is so good. It was one of the very first fantasy books I ever read. I can't say too much more about it, but it's great. Yeah, Bilbo was amazing.
Oh, fantastic great character. My last one, we're at the home stretch, people. We're on the last one. My last one is Mikhail Dubrinsky from a series of books by Christine Feehan. It's the Dark series. It's their paranormal romance. I love the series. I'm behind about 8 books, but that's okay because there's like 30. So I'm still really deep in the series. Yeah. Mikhail Dubrinsky is the prince of the Carpathian people and the prince of the vampires. What did I do? Did I say it wrong?
Yes.
Is it Carpathians?
Yes.
Darn it! I've been pronouncing it Carpathians, but I was just sure I was wrong.
No. You're not wrong on all of them. You're
just half of them.
No, just every now and then. It's okay. I wasn't going to say anything.
You should have. Now I'm upset.
My last one is Enderwigan from Ender's Game.
Great book.
I think he's a little bit vanilla, but again, it's the hero's journey.
Yeah, but I always thought that the vanilla-ness of him was actually kind of his personality.
I agree.
He was a very, very quiet, very atypical kid.
Yep.
Yeah, Enderwigan is really cool.
Very cool.
Very cool character.
Yeah. One of my favorites, but he didn't make the top because he's not as not quite as memorable as some of the other characters. While the book is just as memorable, the character himself is not quite as memorable. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. But we are tagging a whole bunch of people. This is yeah, we weaponized it, and we're hitting a bunch of people here.
We wanted to tag more, but we're trying to keep it around 10 or 11 people.
we got 12.
Oh, 12 people?
Yeah.
Stop adding people. Okay, so we're going to be, we tag, you are tagged, James Holder, Steve Donohue, David Wardrop, Libraries and Labradors, Storm Reads, LizziefayeLovesBooks, BNB Books,
Drawn to Stories.
I can't read my own writing. Drawn to Stories, Mark Richardson, Paperback Junky, Scott Danielson, and Mindy's Book Journey. We tag all of you, and we'll put all your channels at the bottom.
Yeah.
We want to hear your 20 favorite characters. Not 20 best characters, 20 favorite characters. It's characters that stick with you, even years after reading your book. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, 42 minutes in. About 30 of it was Becky, I think.
I think you're underestimating me, actually. It's probably about 35.
It's hotter than Hades back here. And we are going
Oh, is that why you were laughing like that?
I just wanted to keep saying it's hotter than hell back here. Come on.
It is. It's like 80 degrees back here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Think about Melissa over at Libraries and Labradors, stuck in Arizona in 120 degrees heat. This is Christmas.
Yeah, I guess.
That's it.
Yeah, we're done.
We can't wait to hear your stories, your characters. Require characters. Have a good evening.